Welcome to the I'm In podcast, where you learn to unleash your creative genius, live a more abundant life, and change your world. And now, your host, Heather Hodges.
Today's guest is a campaign coordinator for the Calvert Street Group in Nashville, Tennessee. He is a proud graduate of Lipscomb University with a degree in public relations and a minor in psychology. And on the Hodges 12, he is a cultivator, healer, and strategist. He's also my youngest son. Elijah Hodges, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to finally make it onto one of these podcasts.
I know, I've been trying to twist your arm for ages. And then Caleb, the oldest son and producer, finally made the call and got us both on here today. So Caleb, thank you so much for making this happen.
Mm-hmm. He knows the right strings to pull, for sure.
All right, before we get serious, before we jump in, how weird is it to be interviewed by your mom?
Kind of weird, trying to get past it and just think of no camera, just like I'm talking to you, but with a crowd. And, you know, I like to perform, so I'm trying to suppress those tendencies.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
But it's not too weird.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, we're talking today. So usually when I have a guest on, I have them introduce themselves. So when someone asks you, who are you and what do you do? What do you say?
Who am I and what do I do? Mm-hmm. I'm Elijah Hodges, and I work at a political consultancy firm called Calvert Street Group. I'm a campaign coordinator there, which means I mainly deal in their their strategic outreach or community relations, and just sort of a mediator between our clients and the people that their projects or business affects.
All right. So you have been there at Calvert Group full-time for a year, but before that you were an intern. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Full-time for almost a year. We'll be coming up on my 1-year anniversary here in a few weeks, but I was an intern there during college. They were my first internship, and did my first cycle there and really enjoyed it, and it was a paid internship. So I came back to them and said, can I work for you guys again? And then over the summer and then the fall, and then was just there up until graduation. And around that time is when I started having conversations with people in the office about, well, hey, I'm about to graduate and I'm needing a job. I know how this office works and the work you guys do. And I was very fortunate to receive a call the day before I walked the stage, offer me a full-time job, and it's been really great since. So I've been in the office for over 2 years now, which is great, but full-time only a year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to see both sides of it. You know, it was the place where I first learned what real world work would look like, or at least where I first thought it would look like.
Yeah.
Then getting the full-time job and actually being a full-time employee, seeing what that actually is.
Yeah.
But what's also been interesting is seeing the other interns come in, and I'm usually one of the first people they get introduced to because I'm the intern turned full-time. There are other people in the office who are as well, who were previously interns, but I'm just the most recent one. So I always have good little insight to tell them, and it's fun seeing them because I'm like, it was only 2 years ago. I was right in your spot. So
you know what it feels like, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and getting that job offer, that's a story in and of itself. Because your dad and I were on the plane flying from Dallas to Nashville for your graduation.
So I was going to walk the stage
you had a
Saturday.
Job.
No,
yeah.
had no idea. So I walked the stage Saturday. Friday, you guys fly in. And I got a text from you guys pushing back from the gate, about to be up in the air, see you when we land. Great. I had a meeting with someone in the office earlier that week, and from the weeks prior, just having the conversation, but not knowing where we were going to land, what it was going to be, and was kind of thinking like, all right, well, like next week I don't have class. I need to just be either landing this one or hunting other jobs, but like it was really on my mind. So you guys text me pushing back from the gate. You're about to go up in the air. 20 minutes later, the COO calls me, gives me the great news. They want to offer me a full-time position. And I remember he said, I want you to walk across the stage with like this weight off your shoulders. And I was like, Matt, you have no idea the weight. Like really awesome blessing and opportunity. So then you guys land, and I was going to go pick you up, and we were going to go have dinner. And I was holding it. I was super excited. Awesome, you guys were in town, but like this just upped the ante on how this night would go. And so we went to dinner, and I remember we went to a
Mexican
spot
food,
that we it was Mesero, Mesero.
Yeah, either way, I don't know.
But a spot that we had known in Dallas, and then they had a new location here in Nashville, so it was cool to go there. It was kind of like our regular meal, but just in my state, which was fun. But we order drinks, and drinks come out, and Dad is gonna cheers and say congratulations to Elijah for graduating. And I was like, hold on, wait, I got one thing to add. I got a job offer an hour ago while you guys were up in the air. And so it just really sweetened the whole night, because that was a fun time.
Yeah. So telling us over margaritas that you got the job. That was, I'll never forget that moment. It was great. It was pretty sweet. It was cool. It was a proud mom moment. It was also like, dang, you held that tight. like that. Like I would have been like screaming from the roof as soon as you picked us up from the airport. So good job. Well done on that. I've had to learn a good poker face over the years. Yeah, especially in this family, right? Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, now that you've been in the workforce a year, when you think back to that day, to that Friday, that graduation day, put yourself back in that thought process, what did you think the year ahead was going to look like?
Well, I think when I was back then in that time, I wasn't thinking a year ahead is the big thing. I was thinking that first day, that first week. Mm-hmm. Of course, a new job means onboarding, setting up accounts, and familiarizing yourself with whatever software the office uses, getting set up with a work computer. Like I knew that was going to be, just kind of the heart, like the boring work at the front end. But I expected to be given a lot of opportunities to travel. For one, this job allows me to travel some for work. And I was excited about that. But then there was also I'm about to be given responsibilities and tasks, maybe responding directly to clients or being the lead on a certain project or certain research for a different project. And I remember feeling a good amount of imposter syndrome, but not to like an extreme level, like a debilitating level, but just a healthy amount where it's like, all right, you're stepping into a new field, to a new world. You don't know everything. And then in that was kind of like, okay, so ask questions, so figure it out, so talk to people about it. And I remember those first couple of weeks, I woke up every day and was like, okay, how do I be a campaign coordinator today? And eventually it became, I'm a campaign coordinator today. Like I adopted the identity eventually. But the front end was definitely worried about those first couple of weeks, first couple of months. I knew I'd like the office and the people I worked with, but how was I going to actually respond to the leveling up of responsibility? Yeah. Because, and I tried to be really cognizant about like, all right, you're working. Work is your number one thing. Like no more school. You don't have intramurals to worry about or anything else. Like, let's just go to work. And was just really trying to focus on that, knowing that if I could build the habit earlier on, it'd just get easier. And it has. Yeah. For sure.
Well, what has surprised you most about work, about adulting, maybe even about yourself?
What surprised me most is how easy it is to spend that big boy paycheck and having to learn to cut back on that.
True that.
I would say for sure got a little excited in those first couple of months, still working on dialing it back. But that was a big change. Like, yeah, the internship was paid and I had done summer jobs here and there, but this is the first time in my life I've had steady income. And what does that do to my habits, to my eating out habits for sure. But just, to my wallet and the effect I've had to watch that, making sure I'm staying responsible.
Yeah. So how fast it is to go through that big boy paycheck. So wild. So true. The big girl paycheck is the same way. I don't know if it gets any easier. Anything else that surprised you maybe about just adulting or maybe just what you've learned about yourself this last year?
The importance of time off. This job's really been great and offers a lot of opportunities for me to work really hard and dig into the work, but also they understand that they, can ask a lot of us traveling here or there and a lot of hours. So I get reasonable amount of time off, and finding out that that's something that everyone has an expectation of. Everyone I work with has always said, like, take more time off. Like, use it. Use your PTO. And kind of thinking like, well, like, it's been a couple of months. Do I really need it? I've been working, but has it been too hard? But then when I do end up taking that time off, it's just game changer, come back feeling so much different, not realizing how important that time off was. And I think, like, coming from being a student, you have so much time off periodically, summer break, winter break, spring break, that you kind of learn to take it for granted, even though whenever you're a student, you are just waiting for summer break, spring break, and winter break. But I didn't expect myself to be needing that much time off, because it used to just be a given. Yeah. But looking for times to, like, mental health and rest and recover and do nothing is something I didn't realize I would need as much as I've found myself needing it.
Yeah. Gosh, and that's a lesson I think people who've been in the workforce a long time, we still need to remind ourselves that we need that time off to reset. And, of course, being a creativity researcher, I'm going to say, and there's research that shows that when you take vacation, you come back more creative. And it's just true, because you let yourself just reset and come back with a different perspective. So,
and I think it's especially prominent in, like, today's age, where you have so many thought jobs, where it's like being in the office and feeling the stress and wanting to be there. Like, sometimes you can't do your best work there. You need, your best work could be done at home, laying on your couch listening to music at 10 a.m. on a Saturday, because that's when your brain runs and you find yourself finding the solutions that you were blocked at the office. And my job has a bit of, thoughtfulness and creativity to it. And so that's kind of been good every now and then to step away, maybe take an afternoon, go home and do some laundry, do your dishes. And in that, I go to work the next day and be like, hey, boss, I thought about what we need to do for this project. And, like, you can find yourself, but that doesn't apply to every job, of course.
Yeah. No, but
where
you're
you can
right.
actually get your best work done out of the office. But
when you need to do creative thinking and processing or solving a problem. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Well, I'm curious, looking over this last year in the workforce, and let's set the record. How old are you? I mean, I know how old you are, but for the audience.
23, turned 24 in October.
Yeah, and so you're 1 year out of college. You're just finishing that first year in the workforce.
Yep.
What is a lesson that you've learned this last year that a classroom or school could never have taught you?
That's a good question. I think it would have to be something along the lines of the dynamics of a workplace and an office. You don't take a class that teaches you how to greet your boss in the morning or how to behave in a team meeting. Like, those are things you just kind of have to be in to experience, or just have the manners going into to survive. But how to, like, perform as someone in the office, interacting with people, and what an office culture is actually like. That's something that wasn't taught in a class. And the internship was great at teaching me what this office culture was going to be like that I ended up working at, and that was really beneficial. But I know that no office is the same. You have different personnel and different hierarchies, and so that's just not something that's discussed a lot, because you can go to two different firms, two different companies, and their top dog, whoever that is, can be a totally different person. And it could be someone that sits in the bullpen chewing the cud with people all day, or you never see them and they're always on some call in some office and you just don't know who your boss is. So navigating an office structure and office culture is something that I've learned and grown in the past year that I didn't learn that in class.
Yeah, culture, it matters a lot. Like, it's the feel of the place when you walk in, and just how work gets done, how you talk to each other, how you support each other or not support each other. Yeah.
And I always say, like, it's best to work with friends or become friends at work. And so, like, that's also really important. I love the people I work with. I have a bunch of friends in the office, and it's fun to go into the office, which I know a lot of people can't say. or not everyone can say. So that's something that I knew I wanted it to. I knew I was like, I don't want to go to work with people I don't like. And was when I found, this internship, these people are pretty cool. I could come and hang out with them every day. It's like that was something I knew I wanted to look for, and this past year I've realized just how important that was.
Yeah. Wow. Well, mom moment here, but I'm just really glad that you're in a place where the culture is good, because I've worked in places where the culture isn't good, or where you're walking on eggshells, and that's no fun. It is fun to work with people that you like, and you like being around, and you look forward to seeing every day, because that, oh my gosh, it just makes everything so much more enjoyable, smoother. The productivity, the quality of the work, everything just goes up.
And anything's better than working with family, right? Like having to sit down and
now. Yeah, shout out to Caleb. He's listening in.
Yep.
I don't know if he's gonna chime in or not. No, he's going quiet. Okay, so Elijah, now that you have been in the workforce for a year, and you've been watching people who have been doing this work, 10, 20, 30 years, what are the generations ahead of you getting right about how work gets done?
They keep their network. There's rarely been a new project, new client, something new come through our door, and I've sat around the table as we're discussing how we're going to approach it, and people who have been working longer than me and been around longer, they know people we need to connect with, know people we need to reach out to, and I've seen the Rolodexes on the desks, and it just amazes me. Like, you have a network that you have established and garnered and grown compared to my network or the guys I knew in school. So, and like, I know that that's something that comes with time and progresses, but seeing that and seeing how many solutions we've been able to find just because we know the right person. Someone in our office knows the right person. This news outlet, this CEO, that's president of an HOA, like from top to bottom, just keeping your network in touch really helps, at least in our line of work.
No, but you're touching on something that, when we look at the world today and AI, for example, AI is never going to replace that.
No.
You're talking about relationships. You're talking about networking, like people to people. And, as scary as the workforce is, or as, threatening as it can feel, and even, AI is useful in a lot of ways, it can't do that. It can't build relationships with other humans like that, and that'll never go away.
Yeah. And it's a human thing to build those relationships, but also maintain them. I've seen the office Christmas card list, and it's extensive for a good reason. There are a lot of people that we want to remain friends with.
Yeah.
And AI might be able to put together that mailing list, but, more than that, you need to have that actual person to person, which helps in business.
Yeah. Well, who at work do you find yourself kind of quietly watching and learning from? Like, what are they doing that you're noticing?
There's a gentleman at work who has in the past received like the most travel award, where he just puts in the most miles than anyone else in the company. And he's been a guy who I've also gone to, like, hey, I'm about to send this up the chain. Can you proofread it first? And he always has great edits. And he started in my position, and now his title is manager, but he's just like bought in top to bottom, and just a really great worker. And like his work ethic and his skill set and know-how are something I look up to, because he doesn't ever seem like he seems like he's comfortably treading water the whole time. Like, it never gets up above his head. He stays on it. And I've seen it across multiple projects and different clients, and with personnel change in the office. It's like just that consistency is what I've seen and looked towards. And he's a family man too, doing all of this with wife and kid.
Yeah,
and that's just impressive. It's it's a lot, and it's impressive to see. And that's kind of what I watch.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm also curious about, some things that might have surprised you about like the old school way of doing things? So like, is there a piece of like old school wisdom that you used to roll your eyes at and now you actually respect?
I'm a big idiom guy, but I can't think of one that comes to mind right now, or like some old school rule. Because generally I've tried to take old wisdom for what it is, and not be one to roll my eyes at it. But I'm sure there's one I'm missing. If Dad was on this pod, he would have it for me.
He's gonna like, why didn't you think of this, this, and this?
Yeah, you're like, these things I've told you your whole life that now you're finding true. Like they're just slipping my mind. He would have the answer.
Yeah,
but I'm sure I'm just forgetting which one I'm thinking.
Yeah. What's that old saying you said? It was about a rocking chair. What was that one? That idiom you used to use?
That was my senior quote, and I almost forget it, but it's, worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere.
Ah, worrying. Okay. I was thinking it was complaining, but it's worrying. Yeah, because it's...
Complaining's the same. It it doesn't do much good.
Yeah.
Yeah, complaining and worrying. So I try to refrain from those.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like in general, when you look at the generations ahead of you who are in the workforce, there's a lot of, positive things about what, because you're Generation Z. I'm an Xer. And then, between us are the millennials. And then, of course, ahead of me are the boomers. You're seeing some things that, okay, this generation has, done some things really well. And one of those is relationships and networking and work ethic. So if we flip that around, so I'm going to ask you to tell on us, and what are your observations of where do you see the way that work gets done that's broken, or maybe not going to work in the future? Where are we going down the wrong path in the way in how work gets done?
So this one's interesting because, like, although I may be I don't know if anyone else calls it, but like the tech generation, like if there's a computer problem, go find the Gen Zer and they'll fix it up.
I mean, that's right, because you're a tech native. Yeah.
Right. But you're also in this era too, where technology is prominent in business. And a lot of your other peers are as well, and are reaping the benefits of technological advancement and its presence in the workforce. I may be the outlier on this because I'm one to shy away from social media and trying to be too technology reliant, but maybe a little bit of reliance on technology. In a lot of our projects, we utilize different ways of strategic outreach. Sometimes it's physical literature, other times an email blast or a text blast or whatever. And I find that we get better results from physical ways of communication and outreach. People don't always want to send a text back there. We have this technology in hand, but more and more I'm seeing, and again, coming from me, may not be the same for everyone else, at least in my generation, but wanting to distance ourselves from it because it just has become so prominent. And so maybe just a reliance on technology. And I've seen that through, did you not see the email I sent you, or did you not get this Slack message? And sometimes my thought is, well, I'm right around the corner in the office. Why didn't you just poke your head out and yell at me? I'd have gotten it right then. Yeah. But that's also there can be other reasons for that. But in moments like that, I think I've seen older generations put an extra emphasis or reliance or importance on how technology can be used, when there might be more traditional ways that can be just as effective.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So does this kind of go along with, I know that a lot of people in my generation are fascinated by AI. They're fascinated by all of the images that ChatGPT can make right now, and they're posting them all over social. And look at this new. So you're not on social a lot, but the thing right now is, I guess, throwing something into chat, and then it comes up with this poster of you doing all the things that you've done on social, but it's AI generated. So are you kind of talking about how the older generation may be too fascinated with AI stuff, or am I misreading that?
AI stuff, maybe not entirely. I may just be talking about mediums of communication when I'm thinking about my job and what we do. That's where I see the technology difference. AI, that one's different. Like our firm is looking at ways to implement it, and I know clients as well, and it's something that can't be suppressed or ignored. So maybe AI wasn't what I was meaning when talking about the technology or differences across the generations, because AI is undeniable. There is no difference. It's just about who's going to be able to learn to use it better.
Yeah, for sure. And quickly enough.
Yeah.
So I already feel behind, even though I use several different AI in my business. It's still, I can't learn it fast enough.
But even on that topic of AI and the different generations, I'd say you would probably find more people scared of AI in my generation. Afraid of, absolutely.
Okay, What are they afraid of?
Taking jobs and what it's going to do to the workforce, and how is it going to affect their maybe prospective field of what they're going into. You have students going into college hopefully they're looking at, well, what can I do after I get this degree, right? What I know I wasn't thinking of that. But what work can I go do? And they should all be asking themselves the questions. And it was posed to me as well when I first went, but it's now even more of an important question. But, well, how is AI going to change your job? And if you think it's not, you need to think harder, because it probably will. And is it going to make the job you want obsolete? Is your industry going to be able to implement it? Are they looking to implement it? Or is your industry one of those rare outliers that, no, you can't touch it? There's just no connection there. So I think the future of AI, I think, is at least more on my generation's mind than future ones, because I may be afraid of what AI is going to do in 35 years. If AI can do something detrimental to you in 35 years, let me rephrase that. I'm more likely to be afraid of what AI can do in 35 years, because I'll still be working then.
Yeah. I'm not thinking about 35 years. I mean, maybe I'll be around. I should be around.
You'll be around, but I hope you're not in a position where it's going to affect your job. Right. It's my job to worry about that.
Yeah.
Is the entire workforce going to be obsolete in 35 years? That would matter more to me than someone who already has so many years of working and closer to that age of not having to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. And I do think that, when we look at AI and that fear of how's it going to change my job? Is it going to take my job? Will I have a job? What we don't know right now is all of the jobs that haven't even been invented yet. There's going to be jobs that we don't even know about yet, and people will be training and becoming proficient and amazing at those jobs. I think AI is also making human creativity even more precious, even more valuable. The things that a human can come up with, or the things that a human can do, the index on that is off the charts, because it's harder, it's more valuable, it's more unique to the human experience than something a machine can create. So I hope your generation doesn't forget that, especially any artists who are graduating, or people going into film, or any of the arts, that what your hands make, what your body makes, what your mind makes is so much more precious than what AI can make, what a computer
I think
can
you're
make.
Totally right. The difference in a human touch and AI is uncalculable. But the difference being that one's just cheaper, easier, accessibility.
True.
I have a lot of friends here in Nashville who are songwriters, and we've talked about this and how that's going to affect their job. No robot or AI is ever going to write a melody as well as some of the best country art or just songwriters ever. They can't come up with the melodies and the lyrics that make us actually tap our foot and sing the song in our head all day. They might be able to write melodies and lyrics that can fill an album, And there might be businesses or different industries that are looking for quantity over quality. And so I think if as long as we can understand that AI doesn't bring quality, it brings the quantity, and that there is still that difference, then we should be okay, and it's not something to be entirely afraid of. But I still see it as that double-edged sword. Because, yeah, we can do better than it, but it can do more, faster, and longer. Just never as good. And what's the world going to value?
I hope it continues to value good and
Me too.
excellent.
Me too.
And not just the masses of quantity that it can produce.
Yeah. I do too.
Gosh.
But we'll see.
Yeah. No, and I think you're absolutely right, because when you think about music, when a songwriter writes a song, they are reaching out across the divide between one human soul and another and singing about, this is my experience. Does it resonate with you? You know, and they're reaching out to that other human heart. And yeah, computers can't do that. That's, no. Yet. Hopefully not. But yeah, that's what makes it so precious and so special. So, yeah.
And that goes for all forms of writing. Any author of a novel or song or poetry, like that's all what it's meant to do. It's that connection through the page, through the words, my experiences to your experiences. We both have this human experience that we can relate to, and AI just will never have that. They can try their best to emulate it, and I'm sure I've probably read more AI song lyrics than you have, because when I sit with my songwriter friends, we play around with it.
Oh, really?
Either they punch in their lyrics to a AI bot that will produce a rough track of their lyrics, and we mess around with that, of AI generated voice and AI melody, and they can even describe the melody and how they want it to go, but it's never the same. Where it's like when they were just sitting down and playing it on their guitar in front of me, I loved the song, and then they throw it in there and I'm like, now this kind of sounds like recycled, like it's lost that human touch.
Yeah.
It took a heartstring song and gave it an upbeat electric guitar, and like it doesn't see the things that we can see in creative solutions.
Wow. No, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're getting all of those experiences in Nashville, and shout out to Aaron and your other roommates.
Aaron
all
and
the
Max, all those guys.
Things that they do, right? Well, looking back on this
My tortured creatives.
Your tortured
talking
creatives.
About the others, sitting here talking to my other ones.
Speaking of, I'm like digging on your gallery behind you.
Yeah. This is my my at-home art gallery.
It's your private collection?
I get a lot of oohs and ahs when I have guests over. And then a lot of people thinking I'm lying to them. I go, no, those are Heather Hodges originals. Those are all oil canvas, and some of them done because you wanted, some of them on, what's the word?
Commission?
Commission.
Mom, I'll pay you no dollars if you'll paint me a painting of Anakin.
I'll pay you in a high five and a big hug if you paint this favorite scene of mine. Yeah. So, but no, there's some of my favorite collections and artwork in my house.
No, that's pretty cool.
And we've come a long way from having just the prints up in my college dorm room. Now I'm a man with canvas paintings on my wall.
You've got a private collection there. You got your own gallery.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, let's put a fine point on talking about this last year. So knowing what you know now, what would you do differently about this first year out of school?
Well, the easy one is the one I touched on earlier, being better about managing my finances and cash flow, and just being more ready for that on the front end. But that's kind of a gimme. I want to give a better one.
Okay.
Probably if I'd have known earlier on how important it would be to have routinely scheduled off time. Either something to look forward to, or just I know my daily, or not my daily, but I know my clock and my cycle of when I'm going to want that time off. If I could have recognized that earlier on and scheduled those out and had those things, because if you were in between a couple of weeks where you're working hard, but you've got a vacation on a certain date, that's something to look for, a goal to strive for. I think if I could have been better about setting goals and mitigating how long I was on and how long I was off, when to expect to be off, when to expect to be on, just scheduling, I guess.
No, that's good. That's good. Once again, a good reminder for all of us to take our PTO or take our time off or just our downtime. Yeah. So if today's you could leave a voicemail for yourself that you listened to on graduation day a year ago, what would you say?
Hey, dude, it's me. Be excited and just the right amount of afraid, but you can do it. You're going to be fine.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. Like,
and
simple.
You are fine. Yeah.
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 Like it's exciting and it's scary, but that's good. So just do it.
Life is sweet, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, now let's talk about something that I've been dying to talk to you about as well. The Hodges 12. So you have been there since the beginning with this framework, with this model.
That's right.
You helped test it. You've taken it. You've taken the assessment several times. So you were a beta tester. You took it again today, and so we have learned your creative genius trifecta is you are a cultivator, a healer, a strategist. But before we jump into what each of those mean and how it plays out in your life, I'm just curious, how was the experience for you today taking the assessment this time?
I'd say it was prettier. I've seen the UI come a long way from beta testing to now. Like it's polished and finished, and I think it looks really great. If you don't know how it looks, you should go take it.
That's awesome.
To all of our listeners. And I've also, because I was a beta tester and I'm honest with you, I've told you, well, this felt like it maybe dragged, or this was a repeated question. Like I've seen it from where it first was to now, and it to me, I really liked it. It was streamlined. I kind of knew what to expect going into it, but also noticed the changes. And so I liked it. And
awesome.
It's always hard to kind of sit there and be honest with yourself. Like if anyone who's ever taken an Enneagram or any of those other personality assessment tests, like it's kind of hard. You find yourself looking at the answers that you want to give, that you want to be true. But then you just kind of gotta, let's not lie to ourselves right here. Let's be honest. And so it's just getting into that mindset is always just like a little mental hurdle, doing one of those things. Like, nope, I know we want to be this person. We're working on it. But let's answer as the person we are right now.
Yeah, this is who I am. Well, when you look at the cultivator, healer, strategist, trifecta, do you feel like that's true about you?
I do. All of those things, I can definitely see what experiences I had that those things are rooted in. Maybe not so much on the side of how it applies to my work. Occasionally. I can see how I am, but I took that more, or those results, I think, read more true to me and my personality and how I am with my relationships and in my house and to myself, more so than the workplace, even though some of the traits are applicable. But when I finished it, I looked at it like it was a Enneagram personality test. Like, this is talking about how I am with my close friends, with my family, with in relationships I had, and teachers and mentors, and moments where I was a leader or moments where I was part of a group.
Yeah.
So I think they all rung true.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised by any of them.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised either.
No, I didn't think you would be.
I was delighted to see it. Well, let's take them one at a time. So the cultivator is somebody who helps other people grow or creates environments where other people can grow. Where do you see yourself growing the people or growing ideas around you right now?
Right now, I have the luxury and benefit of living in the same city as a lot of my friends I went to college with. Because a lot of them, like I said, are writers and they're interested in their careers here in Nashville. But other friends who are in finance or sales or whatever, they're all still here. And we get together and we'll talk about our jobs and how it's going, and maybe what we think of our careers and vertical movement in our firms or horizontal to a different company. And everyone's experiences are different. They work in different places, different cultures, different bosses. And that's kind of where I find myself, like, probing my friends to express what their true aspirations are.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm happy at this or I'm happy at this, but I kind of wish it was this and this and this. It's okay. So what would that look like in an actual job? Where can that happen? And all of us are sort of at this very starting point together where we're building the foundations of our careers and our work ethics and all that. And I think I learned this trait back in basketball of pushing my teammates to, like, you know, hey, like, you think you can get more? I think you can get more rebounds. Let's get more rebounds next game. And, like, saying that to my friends as well. I mean, like, you can handle more responsibility. Like, you're smarter than your boss. Okay, well then let's prove it.
So you're a challenging cultivator. You're kind of like, let me get in there and poke you a little bit, because I think there's more of you than you're even realizing in yourself right now.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't think that if my friends weren't so cool and awesome, and I think that they had the potential that they have. But yes, I've been really blessed to meet such wonderful people who I have faith and confidence in their potential, and I would love nothing more than to see them achieve it. And so I'll push them.
Yeah. Well, your second is healer, and a healer is somebody, it's exactly what it sounds like, somebody who helps heal wounds, whether they're physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological, but helping other people find wholeness and healing. So how does that show up at work, or the people, your friends, or the people that you hang around with?
In the office, definitely, like, heavy sympathizer. Some people have rough weeks, have rough days, have rough calls with clients, rough reviews with their boss, and you know, sitting in the bullpen, people talk about those. And you know, just, there's nothing worse than, like, wanting to vent and the people there just don't want to hear it. So I always try to be someone who's like, no, I'm here. What you got? Let me hear it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Because I just know just how much that would really hurt to, like, want to have that moment, especially I'm at work, I'm not at home. Now's not a good time to call my mom and talk about these things, but I just have this on my heart and I need it off. Let me turn to you. No? Okay. Like that would just be terrible.
Yeah.
So just always want to be open and available to people when they need it.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from being a little brother. If I had to
call it, shout out to Big Brother.
Well, but just the dynamic of that within the whole family of, it's like I've always been the touchy, heartfelt one, and you can always cry on my shoulder.
Aww.
Within everybody, and
no,
it's just good to be there, available for people.
Well, does it ever cost you something when you do that?
I want to say yes, but it never feels like a lot, because I know the alternative would cost the other person more. It's like it might cost me something. It might cost my attention for 10, 15 minutes, or my attention for the next couple of days while I'm thinking about, you know, this traumatic experience or this conversation I had with someone that has really affected me. But I know that had I had not done what I did, the effects would be worse than my situation right now. So sure, but not anything consequential.
So it's worth the cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, your third is strategist. And, you know, I could hear it earlier when you're talking about work and how you approach things. But I'm curious, like, when you look at all three of these things together, you know, the cultivator, the healer, the strategist, and these are all your three creative strengths, your creative superpowers together. How do these play together on a good day at work? Or in life, either one?
Well, first I want to say, when I did see Strategist, I wasn't personally surprised, but I thought of someone who would be, and that would be, I thought Dad would probably say, you don't think things through or forward, what strategy, and I kind of thought, well, why did I get Strategist? And was then thinking about it, and it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier of when people do their best thinking when they're at home or doing whatever. I do my best thinking when I'm playing through strategies and in cause and effects and different outcomes. What's my next step going to be for the next week? What events do I want to play out? Like when I find myself doing my best creative thinking, I'm thinking of strategies and avenues to take. I may not do that for everything I need to.
Fair enough.
Well, after I book this flight, what do I need to strategize how to get to the airport? Like I might still have some improvement to do on that end, but that's when I find myself doing my most creative thinking. And to answer your question about how I see all three of those pulling together at work, my first two kind of touched on how I interact with people at work. And the third one is the same. I strategize, how's this person going to respond to this? What does this person want to see when they said they want this task done? What is this client going to want in the future? How can I present the data they said they wanted to see? Like kind of strategizing the interpersonal interactions in my office.
Fascinating. So it's not so much about moving chess pieces on the board as it's more about the relationships.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Not moving chess pieces on the board, but navigating the board as if I was walking through it.
Okay. That's fascinating. That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Whose radar to get on, whose radar to stay off of, what to really make sure I knock out of the park, and what can I get by with just getting done because it's the end of the week and I want to get to my weekend, so in strategizing that. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, sometimes done is better than perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, when somebody takes the Hodges 12 Types of Creative Genius, they also get a Thriving Index. And that's a composite score of several questions that come together that kind of show where you are right now using your creative strengths in the world. It also shows your creative self-efficacy, how much belief you have in your own ability to solve problems and use your creativity. And you get a score, and your score came out growing, which is next to thriving. So it's, that makes a lot of sense to me where you are. It's kind of, it shows me where you are using your skills, using all of your gifts. But I'm curious, does that resonate with you? And what's feeding your growth right now when you think about using your creativity in the world?
Yeah. No, that track, I thought that was very accurate for me. I mean, I'm 23, a year out of college. It would be unreasonable for me to imagine I've got it all. I did it. I'm set. So there's the healthy part of me that's like, no, keep working, keep growing, progress. You're not done. That I carry with me as well. I was like, sure, you're doing good today. But let's set ourselves up. Let's be good in 10 years. Let's be good in 15 years. Let's keep on building on who you are. And I that applies to how I think of myself in my occupation and career, but also like myself as Elijah. I'm not the best roommate I could ever be to my three roommates. Shout out, guys. And I'm looking at ways, how can I be a better roommate? How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better son or brother? Like, there's no place where I'm content, but I'm also not like angry at myself for where I'm at. And so I think that's the mentality that I should have, of growth and like, no, I'm not finished. I haven't even plateaued yet. We can still keep going up. And I see that just in everything. Relationships have always been important to me. And as my friends' lives change and develop, how I'm going to stay a part of them. And like I said, the networking. Keep my networks. How can I, continue to maintain these things that I've cherished and be a person people want to be around, talk with, interview on a podcast, like all of these things.
That's cool. I mean, and that kind of a call back to what you've learned from the generations ahead of you, just about the relationships and that network. Yeah. Well, when you think about your best day ever and like your best ideas ever, what conditions bring out your best creative self?
I've had a lot of great moments seeing collaborative efforts have really great creative solutions. But I have my best creative solutions alone. Like I've been part of teams and groups where we have collectively come to something great that works, that everyone can take credit for and be happy with. But when I think of, well, what things have I created or have I done that I'm most proud of? There were things where I was in a lab in a late night up in the room, or came to me on a long afternoon walk or working out in the gym, but like times by myself in my own head, I've stumbled upon my most creative solutions or creativity.
I have some thoughts about why that's the case, but why do you think that's the case?
I think a big part of it is it's kind of what I witnessed growing up. Taking Dad, for example, see him is kind of one of the perks of being the family of a preacher is you see how the sausage gets made and what the 6 days leading up to Sunday look like. And saw how much work he would do by himself, whether it's working through a sermon while he's cooking a meal or mowing the lawn. And if you know him and know what that process looks like, you can see, you and I know this, everyone else does it, but you can see when his wheels are turning. And I would see those wheels turning all the time when he was off on his own. And I guess that kind of just instilled in me, like, well, that's how that's how creatives work, and that's how you find your solutions. And so I put myself in those scenarios where I was like, no music, no, lock the door, let's sit here and let's write this essay for this class, right? Just because it was how it was showed to me to be done. And it's just worked out that that's kind of how my, wheels get turned into is maybe, lock everything up, put on a Hans Zimmer album to my soundtrack to my favorite movie, and let's just pump something out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think there's another explanation too.
Let me hear it.
Are you open to it?
I'm open to it.
No, I also think that you're such a people person that even when you're working on teams, I think that you can't not turn off the I'm focused on other people, because you're thinking about the team dynamics, thinking about how is this person being heard, is their idea being brought to the table, and you're so focused on taking care of everybody around you that you may not be able to give it your full attention to coming up with a solution by yourself. So when you are alone, you're focused on the idea, the problem, the solution, the creative thought that you're working with, and there's no people to distract you from that. And that element that you bring to a team, I mean, gosh, that's so valuable. Like, we need people who draw out other people's ideas. What do you think about my hypothesis?
I think there's some truth in it, for sure. I'm thinking of two different scenarios where I would be in a group setting, and college is the most recent example, but it would be like a class project everyone is putting into it. But then I also had student leadership roles on campus where I was in a leader or in a position of leadership within a group. In those two different scenarios, I think I was more likely to be along your hypothesis in the first one, where it was I have equal stake as everyone else. I am not above or below anyone else. We are all collaborating on this. I'm more likely to be, well, no, let's make sure we hear. I liked her thought. Would flesh that out. Let's see what that was. Rather than if it was in those situations where I was in the leadership role, I would be more inclined to, sorry guys, I've got the right answer. We're going to do this. It's like, I'm open to your input and ideas, but I've got it. I'd be more likely to assert my opinion, my solution in those scenarios rather than equal playing field. Let's all make sure we like what we're giving to teacher, what we're giving to our boss, you know?
Yeah. It is fascinating, though, how we all come up with creative ideas differently. And that we're all just, so unique in that. Okay, last question. So
Sure.
if a listener is a new graduate or maybe somebody who's just, a few months out of school and feeling just a little bit lost going into the workforce, what do you want them to hear?
Community is important. You can wake up every day and get in your car and go to work, and doing that over and over again can feel like you're part of a one-man army. That's not the case. Finding community will make everything so much easier. Make friends at work. Make friends with your roommates. Make friends in your literal community within your neighborhood. Go to church. Join a running club. Give yourself something to have, like a little R&R. And you can find that in the office. Make a friend at work and take 20 minutes at their desk every day bring them a cup of coffee and just chat and don't talk about work, and give yourself human moments, or get yourself more acquainted with your roommate, or just go to church and join a young adults Bible class. The community is so important. My job and my life would be harder if I wasn't so lucky to live in the same city as so many of my close friends, if I wasn't friends with my roommates. I have so many moments in my life where I feel like I can take my own stresses and weight off of my shoulders because I can then go be with other people and forget about them. So I guess find yourself scenarios where you can forget about your stresses, but the way to do that is find good people to sit and be with and have community with, because that's what'll keep us going.
I think those are wise words. Brilliant. Elijah, this has been such a fun conversation, but before I let you go, my research assistant, Percy, the penguin, has a few questions for you. Do you have time for some questions from Percy?
I do. I think so.
All right. You know about Percy, right?
I do.
You know about Percy. Okay, Percy, you ready? Come on in, Percy. Here he comes. All right. Thank you, Percy. Percy actually has 3 questions for you. The first 2 come from previous guests. I did a podcast out in Las Vegas when I was speaking at a conference, and some old buddies of mine, Jay Duty and Scott Baird, were out there, and they each gave a question for my future guest. They had no idea it was going to be you. And you've kind of already answered one of them, but here are the questions. You ready?
Yep.
And you've never heard these questions before, so
Nope.
These are going to be off the cuff. How do you think out an idea? How do you let your ideas incubate? And that question is from Jay Duty.
Let me hear it one more time.
How do you think out an idea? How do you let your ideas incubate?
I think this also comes from some paternal influence in my life, but I think of ideas as how can I narrate them to someone? How can I explain in my own words, like I had to present them? How can I present this idea, give it character, spin a web of a narrative, explain anything? But also I think of like that Einstein quote, where you only truly understand something once you're able to teach it. And it's like, if I want to show that I've got something fully cooked up here, let me show it to you, I need to be able to, like, not just tell it to you, teach it to you. Top to bottom, here's why my idea is what it is, why it's going to work, how I got there. And if I'm going to do that and feel like I've come to a creative solution, it usually plays in my head as like, all right, 10-minute spiel. What's it look like? How can I express that? Afterwards, I'll put it to paper. I'll put something physical together, but the narrative needs to be there first. I need to cook that first.
Yeah. Okay, so the second question is really similar to that. So this is Scott Baird's question. He says, how do you get unstuck? When you're trying to solve a problem, how do you get the creative juices flowing?
I usually walk away from the problem and take my mind off of it, go somewhere else. Give my mind time to wander, to think about something else, to just kind of put my attention on something else and get in a flow of that. And usually in those moments where I've stepped away from it, I've taken it off of the front of my plate, put it on the back burner, and I'll slowly come to it just over time, because it's still back there and I'm working on it, but I'm not stressing myself like I need a solution for this right now. No. I can find a solution later. And then later comes and I have it.
So the walk away method, let it sit for a little bit.
I can sit there and bang my head against the wall for as long as I can, or as long as I want, or I can walk away and I might stumble upon a ladder,
Yeah. And it just works. It's crazy how our minds work that way, but it just does. All right. So Percy's third question is, what question would you like to ask a future guest?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one. Because those were both two good questions.
Well, some people ask questions like, what's the meaning of life? And other people ask questions like, what's your favorite dessert? So it can be anything.
My question for future guests would be, how have you perceived or witnessed your own creativity change and grow over time? Coming from a 23-year-old, I'll pose that to your future guests. Hopefully there might be another 23-year-old. I don't know about anyone younger, but let's say when you were 23, what your creativity looked like.
Yeah.
How has that changed to wherever they are now?
Yeah, I like it. Well, maybe we should nominate the next 23-year-old who needs to come on the podcast, take the Hodges 12. We could unpack their creative process.
I know a 25-year-old who I could switch seats with, and he could hear that, Caleb? Yeah, I'm talking about you.
We do need to get some more Gen Z on the podcast, because I'm so curious about what life is like in your shoes these days, but also your creative process and what the world just looks like from your vantage point. Because I think the older generations have a lot to learn from you.
Yeah.
And so I know I learn from you daily, and I'm blessed to get to be your mom, be your friend, for you to speak into my work. So Elijah, thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me and making this easy. I appreciate it. I was worried. So I have to talk to my mom.
Oh,
no, I'm
man.
kidding. I love you. And this was great. Happy to be a part of your work. And the fact that Caleb was the one who reached out just made it sweeter.
Yeah,
and
I can't believe he hasn't made an
being
appearance.
out here
Maybe
in
we'll get
Nashville, I
him
miss
on.
you guys a lot, and so I feel like I'm at home right now, and that's nice.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, where can our listeners find you? Is LinkedIn a good place?
Yeah, I have a LinkedIn, but everywhere else I'm kind of off the grid, kind of grown to that. But you check me out on LinkedIn, Elijah Hodges. I can't remember my exact handle, but there's a picture of me on there, so you can find me that way.
I'll put a link in the episode
Yeah.
notes so people can connect with you on LinkedIn. But Elijah P. Hodges, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Pleasure's all mine.
All right. And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. And if you haven't followed the podcast yet, please hit that follow button and you will be the first to know when a new episode drops. And I'd love it if you would leave a review. It helps more people find us and join the conversation. And if you want to discover your own creative genius trifecta, please go to my website to take the assessment, and I'll put a link in the episode notes. So until next time, keep saying I'm in to creativity and bold thinking, transformational growth, and meaningful conversations. May you be wildly creative in your life and leadership. I'll see you soon.